So, hello everyone. So, I'm Daniel, and with me today I have Javier Gonzalez from BTH, and you're very welcome. And so, Javier, who are you and what is your research background?
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for inviting me. I'm Javier. As Daniel said, I'm coming from BTH, from Blekinge Tekniska Högskola, tiny university in the south of Sweden. I'm associate professor in software engineering, and I'm also program manager of a new degree on civil engineering software development. As background, I studied computer science and software engineering in Valencia, in Spain. I worked as developer, project manager, and project leader in different industries. I also worked as head of a development department in a company in Valencia, developing ERPs for vehicle maintenance area. And then I decided to become a researcher and do my PhD in software engineering. I got kind of bored of working in the same kind of problems every day, and I jumped to something that is more challenging and thrilling at the same time. Now I'm a researcher slash practitioner, not always in the same order, and I collaborate with doing research with several companies here in Sweden. Like, for example, I work with Spotify, I work with Ericsson, Volvo Construction Equipment, Fornox, or Swedbank. A few words on BTH as well. So we are a small and tiny university, but our research environment is world leading. We do world leading research in the area of software engineering, working with cutting edge companies, as you have seen in my presentation, in a daily basis. So this is me.
Nice. So, what is your research subject? What is your area? What is your specialization?
So I work in trying to help companies to improve the ways they work, how they develop software. I focus in things like trying to minimize the quality problems they have in their source code, for example. That's a thing. We also work on trying to understand how companies develop software can be more effective. How can we understand things that have happened recently? For example, this is another research area I'm exploring now. We are trying to understand what happens with when big companies, like for example Spotify, went to work from home when this pandemic arrived, and we are working with them conducting big studies, and we have worked with several companies doing similar studies, and we have somehow interesting results to help companies and to for researchers also to understand how this working from home works for software development.
Nice. So how do you find these problems that you work on? Is it from the company's side, or is it ideas that you have, or how do you get these research projects, so to speak?
So this is a mixture of everything. So it's both. We have interest. We have an understanding of how software is developed, what are the problems that we have when we develop software, and also we have a constant dialogue with companies. So we get challenges from the companies. We also have situational changes we need to understand. For example, this pandemic came and we were working with some companies, and then we got the question, oi, what's happening? What's going to happen now? And then that's how we work. And we work in a daily basis with them and analyzing how they work and analyzing their artifacts, trying to measure or measuring things to understand how they work and how to improve.
Nice. So more practically, how do you measure these things? So what is it that you measure, for instance, and why?
So what we tend to do is that we have access to the infrastructure of these big companies. And what we do is that we measure their work products, or we measure, for example, they are code. We measure how often a developer finishes work, what's the size of the work being finished by a developer each week, etc. And with that data, over time, we can understand things. For example, I can measure using Git repositories what's the impact of this pandemic on the code being produced by big companies. For example, this is an example of the code being produced by 2 big companies before and after going to work from home mode. Here we have in 2020 and 2019 the comparison, and what we can see is that there is no big difference. They are inside of the same parameters. We don't see any big change, and this is the type of data we analyze for it. For this, we analyze Git data. So Git is a version control system that allows companies to control the modifications over source code, and Gerrit is a tool that allows companies to organize their code reviews. Code reviews is a tool that company uses as a quality gate before they put the work of a developer into production. And with these 2 sources of data, we can produce or understand these kind of things.
So, okay, so this is a nice graph. And so what is that understanding contributing to? Who are you like communicating this understanding to? Is it just the companies, or is it a larger research community that you're communicating to? And what happens with this knowledge, so to speak?
So we differentiate, of course, the information we give to companies from the information we communicate to the community, but we do both. So on the one hand, we work with the company and then we show them, okay, we have found this. What do you think? And also we ask them to see if we get it right, because data is often complicated to interpret. So then we also do interviews with them to see if we understood correctly. But the first thing we communicate inside the companies, and then of course we communicate to the software development research community and also to the industrial practitioners, because we do publications both in pure scientific journals, but also we tend to also publish a lot in scientific divulgation journals, like Communications of the ACM or IEEE software, that is more angled towards practitioners. It's not only researchers. We want to make an impact on the companies that develop software and to improve the body of knowledge.
Nice. So what is your motivation behind this? So I mean, this sounds fun and interesting and lots of numbers, so it could be fun in that part. But what is your motivations in this? What drives you as a researcher?
So the most personal side is like I like complicated problems to be solved. So I like challenges. Yeah. And I find myself, so I find that this is fun and it's interesting. Also, I want to make an impact. I want to after 20 years of career, I want to understand that we did something that improved the way we, for example, develop software or improve all the pipelines that we have nowadays to develop software. We were able to do an impact on it. If you work only in a company, you help your company doing profit. If you are lucky, you will be working in a company that makes an impact on the society. But as a researcher, I'm trying to make first Swedish software industry more competitive, but also I'm trying to, in general, improve the way we work and how we can also contribute to the digitalization of the society, for example. And this is, so my goal is to improve the way we do things, the way we engineer things. I consider myself an engineer, a real engineer. And what I would like to is to improve the way we engineer software.
Nice. I think that was a really good answer. One last question. I think so. So I usually ask this question to the people that I interview, and that is: do you have an advice for my students? Something that you want to share with them from your life, or from that could be interesting for them, or yeah, general advice for them.
So first, I mean, on the general level, I think we have a privilege of working with technology, and I have the privilege of working with software. That is a profession that is extremely versatile. So if you remember, when I presented myself, I said I have worked in several industries, ranging from food industry to vehicle maintenance. And all this is possible because I work with a discipline that is so versatile that can be applied to anything. Every industry now needs software development competence. So you can be working tomorrow in a bank developing their bridges to payment. And the day after, you can go to a company like Spotify and help them to develop the mobile app. I mean, and this is the beauty of working with software development. The beauty of working with technology is that this is everywhere now. The second advice is that research is beautiful itself. If you work in a company, you are going to be working in similar type of products. You can jump from one company to the other, but you are going to have kinda an angle and a specialization. The beauty of being a researcher is that you can work in extremely different contexts and extremely different environments with extremely different problems. And for me, this is beautiful because you usually don't get bored in the way. This is extremely versatile and is challenging, but at the same time is rewarding.
Okay, so thank you very much, Javier. And this was really nice.